Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or hi if you're new. I thought it'd been a while since I did my last, well that's not true, it's not actually been that long. It's probably been about a month since I filmed my previous book video, and since then I have read quite a few books, so I thought I would do an updated book video. I feel like I'm just gonna do this like every month or so, depending on how much I read. Towards the beginning of the month, I read a lot more than I have towards the end. I'm picking the books back up again. I was just quite busy, but now I'm back to reading again. So I'm going to talk about one of the first ones I read this month, which I loved so much. Like, I really could not put it down, and I've never heard of it before, but I think it's like a really famous book. And I'm so glad that I don't even know how I found out about it, but I'm very glad I did. This is The Truth About the Harry Quebert Affair. I hope I'm saying that last name right, I'm not sure. This is by Joel Dicker, and this book was like, I don't know, it just, you know how like some books really just make you feel like you're there, like they create this world so well. I feel like this author did exactly that. I'll kind of read you a bit about the back of the book. I feel like my own summary of it is probably not going to be the best. It basically goes between, I think, like 1975 and 2009. Like, I think that's kind of the time frames they jump between. So if we're thinking back to 1975, there was an author that actually fell in love with a young girl, and no one actually really knew about it at the time. But 33 years later, in his home, a body is basically dug up, and it is confirmed as that girl's. And the thing is, this author had basically written a famous book about this young girl, but of course no one knew that it was someone as young as that. They thought maybe it was just like someone his own age, for example, but it wasn't. No one knew until they dug up the body and found the manuscript where her body was. And that author, of course, is the only suspect because it was found in the back of his garden, basically. There are so many twists and turns inside this book. It's like a real like whodunit, like, you know, that sort of thing, like where you actually don't know who did it. There's so many different like side plots. Like, it's just such a good book. And my favorite thing about it was the fact that there was so much dialogue in it. I love a book that's pretty much nothing but dialogue. I just love it so much. I feel like I don't have to pay as much attention. I don't know why, maybe that's just me. Really and truly, like, one of the best books I've read. Like, if someone were to ask me, you know, what would you recommend for pretty much anyone? Let's say someone isn't really much of a reader, they don't like to read very much. I would recommend this book because it grabs you instantly. You're always trying to figure out what's happening. Like, it's just so good. And I feel like it's the perfect book size as well. Like, I love a book that's this size. I feel like there's always a good story in a book this big. I don't know, I feel like I'm just like yapping on now, but that's just how my book videos go. These are not proper book reviews, just to be clear. Like, this is not the channel to get a book review. This is literally just me like saying, this was really good, you should read it. I guess in a way that is a review, but it's definitely not a detailed one. But this author is so good. I have to try and find other books that he's written because the writing was like really just amazing. I feel the same way about this as I felt about, what was it? The Girl with the Dragon's Tattoo? Is that what it's called? The Millennium Trilogy, basically. Those books were also some of the best books I've ever read in my entire life. Like, I have to reread them at some point. Like, I literally demolished those books so quickly. Like, I read them so fast. Like, when you find a book that you just can't put down, like, that's how you know, like, it's one of the best. Okay, the next book I want to share with you is The Spanish Love Deception. This book, I feel like everyone really loves this book, which is why I wanted to go and read it, but I couldn't actually finish it. And I get so frustrated with myself if I can't finish a book. I'm like, just read it. But I don't know, I just couldn't, basically. It's about a woman named Catalina who needs a date to her sister's wedding, and she's basically told her family that she has a boyfriend when she in reality doesn't. So she basically has 4 weeks to find someone to like take across the Atlantic to her sister's wedding, and at this point she doesn't have anyone to take, but she works with someone who basically offers to go with her. It's this kind of idea where they don't really like each other very much, and then you kind of, you know, you can kind of see where it goes from there because it is a romance novel. Because she's so desperate to have someone, she just just says to him, yes, we'll go together. And it goes from there, basically. It did remind me a little bit of The Hating Game, which I loved. I loved that book so much, with that kind of office romance. I think because I read that one and I loved it so much, I found it quite hard to read this one. Not because they were actually similar books. I guess the idea of the office romance was similar, but of course the storyline is totally different. They're different books. But I just felt slightly more engaged when I read The Hating Game. I'm not entirely sure why. I just feel like this one maybe dragged on a little too much for me. I feel like it just took quite a while to get to the plot, and I wasn't really captivated. I wasn't really engaged. I did prefer The Hating Game. But I just want to add in as well, like, this is not like a video of me hating any of these books. I'm saying, like, don't read it. Like, everyone likes different books. If you want more of a slower paced read, I think you would really like this. I do think the storyline is good. I just feel like because I read The Hating Game first, and I loved it so much, it was kind of hard for me to read a book with a similar vibe to it, you know? But look, I have to be honest, I think this would make like a really good film, actually. But for the book, I just wasn't able to, like stay engaged with it. This video is going to have lots of book genres, by the way. I don't just read one genre, I read all sorts. I read like fantasy, romance, thrillers, occasionally mystery, like literally everything. The next one I have to show you, I actually finished last night, so very fresh in my memory. This is The End of Her by Shari Lapina. Again, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. This is The End of Her. This author is so good. Like, you just don't see it coming. Like, the twists and turns that she thinks of, it's like, wow, how do you do that? It's one of those books that you can literally finish in a day, because it really does keep you hooked. Every single one of her books that I've read, I think I must have read 3 of her books so far. Not one did I not like. Like, they were all so good. This was the book that I read with my grandma. We do like a mini book club, basically. So this was our kind of chosen book for May, basically. I haven't spoken to her about it yet. I'm doing that on the weekend, but I thought I would just film this video now. This video is probably not going to go up for like another week anyway. So essentially, Stephanie and Patrick are recently married. They've got newborn twins. They're under quite a bit of stress. Then someone from his past shows up at their door and basically starts to meddle with their lives. Lots of things start to come up from Patrick's past that his wife Stephanie was not aware of. And Stephanie is just trying to figure out who she believes and what really happened. It's definitely a whirlwind of a book. Like, if you want to finish something in a day, or you're on holiday and you just want a really good book to read, this one is definitely it. Also, sorry if you can hear like buzzing in the background. Of course, I chose the day where it's loud outside. But I finished this so quickly. Like, it was really good. I'd highly recommend any of her books, but in particular this one as well. And again, lots of twists and turns, things that you don't really see coming. I would move to a different room to film the rest of this video because of the outside noise, but this room has the best lighting, so I'm going to stay here and just try and talk over the loud whirring in the background. So sorry about that. Right, the next book I've got to share with you is Presumed Guilty by Scott Turow. Again, I loved this book so much, I could not put it down. I feel like this month has been a really good book month for me because I've loved pretty much most of the books I've read. This is actually the sequel to Presumed Innocent, which I've not read, but I feel like that was a very famous book, and I think they've got a film and a TV show about it too now. I feel like the film was from the 90s, so like that was before, you know, I was actually born, but I want to read the book version of it because of course the book came first. I didn't actually realise this was the sequel to that book, so I'm going to read Presumed Innocent as well, just so I have read kind of the duology, I guess. But if you've not read Presumed Innocent, or you've not read this one before, this is basically about a retired judge who is just trying to get on with his new life, and the peace starts to kind of evaporate quite quickly. His partner's son is basically charged with a crime, and he's having to decide whether or not he returns to court again to basically be his lawyer. It is so well written, so in detail. I think this author must have been a lawyer at some point, or is a lawyer, I'm not too sure. But you can tell from the writing, like the detail is there, like it's really strong, but not in a way that you get confused about what they're saying when you're trying to figure out what does that word mean, like what are they saying. I can find that quite hard because then I'm like, I don't actually know what's going on. With this one, you still understand what's happening. I feel like the vocabulary is, you know, understandable, and you know, you don't get lost in the book. But again, that was a book with lots of dialogue in it, which I really appreciated, and I'm really excited to read the first kind of book before this one. But I loved that book so much. Like, I would highly recommend it. I think out of this video, the two that I would actually recommend is that one, so Presumed Guilty, is that what it's called? Yeah, Presumed Guilty, and also The Truth About the Harry Quebert Affair. Like, those two books had me hooked the whole time. The final book I'm going to share with you, I didn't actually read, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, because of course it's always going to be something for everyone. The one I didn't end up reading was Strange Flowers by Donal Ryan. Now, I was really excited to read this because of the plot. It's basically about someone who takes a bus from her rural home, I think in Ireland, and then never returns until 5 years later. She does come back, and it's basically about what happened when she was gone and basically trying to fit back into her old life. But as soon as I opened it, I saw that there were no speech marks, and I find it so hard to read books that don't have speech marks in, like, for the dialogue. The reason being, I just feel like I have to really try and, like, understand when someone is speaking. When I open a book, I just want to, like, chill and just read through the book, but I feel like when it doesn't have any speech marks in it, I find it hard to, like, stay connected to the book. I'm going to try to speed through this portion of the video now because it's getting really loud outside. Now, I know some people really don't mind this sort of thing at all, because I think the plot of the book is really good. Like, it sounds great, but I find it hard to kind of read books without speech marks in or without very clear dialogue. But if you don't mind that sort of thing, this plot sounds really good, and I think it would definitely be worth the read if you don't mind where there's no speech marks. It was kind of the same situation with me and Sally Rooney's books, like Normal People, for example. I couldn't read the books because, yeah, there was no speech marks. I feel like that's such a silly thing to say, but for me, it's just, if I'm going to read a book, I want to chill, just read the book and not have to think too much about it while I'm reading. Instead, I ended up watching Normal People, like the TV show, instead, because I thought that would just be easier for me. But yeah, if you don't mind that sort of thing, I think this actually sounds really good. And it's not too long of a book either. You could definitely finish this quite quickly if you kind of become engaged with it. Anyway, that's kind of my book roundup. Very quick video, and of course there was loud noise outside through most of this video, so hopefully you don't mind. Let me know if you've read any of these, or if you have any book recommendations for me in the comments. I would love to know if you've got any, whether that's romance, mystery, fantasy, any of those. I would love a recommendation. This is quite a quick video, I hope you don't mind. Let me know if you still want more book videos in the comments below, and please do subscribe to my channel if you are new to. Anyway, I'm actually going to go and make my lunch now. I will see you in my next video. Bye.